So we moved here about 17 years ago, and I have to say for those first few years I was so busy with work and young children that I sort of just enjoyed what was here. But about 8 years ago I suddenly got the bug, and when I say I got the bug, I really became evangelical about trying to restore what was here, because it's a beautiful mature garden that was planted with some amazing trees and shrubs over the last, well, 100 years or so. So we're here not a million miles from the South Downs in the southeast of England, and we're on clay. It's been planted with a lot of beautiful mature trees. We've got some big yew hedges. We have different areas to the garden. A lot of it's very wild. It's quite big. We've got about 3 acres of garden, and so obviously it's impossible to keep that looking precise and pretty the entire time, but I absolutely love it because it's got amazing views and it's got these different areas, these different characters within it. On a day when I have time, I love to be pottering down by the ponds or sitting on the bench, just having a coffee and looking at the sort of dappled light coming through the trees and sort of, you know, imagining that I'm actually in a Jane Austen novel. That would be obviously great. I also love my veg plot because I think there's something just so magical about the fact that you can plant a seed and then create a meal a few months later. And I just love the sort of mindfulness of that, the kind of slightly, you know, repetitive, mundane nature of the work when you're pricking out seedlings or you're weeding through, you know, baby carrots and trying not to take out the carrots with the weeds. I find that incredibly relaxing and incredibly satisfying. I think what's so interesting is that obviously gardens and nature have inspired music throughout the ages, and I can completely see why. But I think there's also something really fascinating about the way that the sound world that you create when you're creating a piece of music can also really inform the way you look at the space around you. So I started planning this border about 7 or 8 years ago, and I wanted a formal English border because this is a formal garden, but I wanted it to have year-round colour and interest. And I was advised to start with flowering shrubs. I've got a couple of lovely sambucas, dark foliage. I've got beautyberry or winter flowering viburnum. I've got lots of camellia here, so I've got kind of colour throughout the winter as well, which is fantastic. I was choosing sort of pinks and purples, darker foliage, really bright lime green foliage as well, with some heucheras I've got dotted throughout, and I've got some quite acidy euphorbias as well. I really wanted to make sure there was sort of colour, as I say, throughout the whole season. So we're just about to get the peonies. Roses are out early, so that's looking beautiful. And later on in the summer, I'll have lots of dahlias and cosmos and cornflowers that I plant from seed every year, which will fill some of the gaps here as well. But no, I absolutely love it. And I sort of wanted to try and have that repetition and that sort of harmonious planting, but again, bringing that sort of idea of music and rhythm into the planting, which I don't know if I've got it right. I mean, it's slightly different every year, but I love it. So one of the plants that seems to thrive in this garden that I inherited when we moved here is this Mexican daisy, this erigeron. It's everywhere. I cannot tell you how many times friends have come round and tried to take cuttings because they can't make it grow. Whereas literally everywhere I look, it is flourishing here. So this is probably my favourite place to sit and have a coffee in the garden. This is the ponds, which we restored about 7 or 8 years ago. We think they were originally brick pits, and then in the 1950s they were sort of set up more formally, if you like, and lined, and a sort of a cascade system was created down here. But when we moved in 17 years ago, we fenced it all off because the kids were small and it wasn't safe. So it got incredibly overgrown. So it was wonderful, I call it my sort of Lost Gardens of Heligan project, to discover what we had here. And we've now been trying to redevelop it in a very naturalistic way, so that we've got some of the original plants, the gunneras and the ferns. Have obviously been here a long time, but we've planted it up with a lot of new azaleas and aces and so on as well, which thrive in the clay here. And we've got some beautiful trees. Obviously the rhododendrons are huge. We chopped back a lot. But I absolutely love it. And the challenge of trying to find the right plants is a big one, and it's a big area. Yeah, the trial and error is the fun. I had to bring you down here to my Jurassic ponds, but mostly because look at these hostas. They never look this good normally, I'm not gonna lie. I think it's because we had so little rain recently, so there've been very few slugs. And so they're looking pretty, I mean, they're looking majestic. So this wisteria must be, I don't know, 50, 60 years old at least. I slightly suspect it's holding the wall up here, but it is it's my pride and joy. I love this wisteria. If you look up there, you can see it actually goes all the way up into that tree. I mean, it's huge. It's fading a little bit now. It was zinging, it was almost neon about 2 weeks ago. So here we are in my slightly messy but quite productive vegetable plot. There was a small vegetable plot here with a couple of sort of rather old raised beds, and then I extended it, and then we realised we had to fence it for rabbits. And we've sort of really tried to feed the soil here as much as possible, obviously rotating the sort of quality of the earth depending on what we're planting. We managed to make this quite, really quite productive considering we're on clay. And and I sort of just rotate it round and try not to get too over-ambitious, and remember that I really only use an awful lot of leeks and onions, and so that's really what I should just plant, that and potatoes, but it's always just too tempting to just see what else will pop up as well. So this is my new veg project. I've always dreamt of having an asparagus bed. So 3 years ago I planted crowns. I got 3 different varieties in here so that in theory my harvest will be extended from mid-April to early June. So year 3 I am actually finally getting some asparagus for my tea, which is great. And I cannot tell you the excitement of seeing how quickly it grows. It's literally magical. You can practically see it growing in front of you. I'm still sort of experimenting with whether or not I should be allowing more of the crowns to sort of, to the foliage to sort of grow out. I'm assured that about 1/3 of the spears you should allow to grow and just sort of develop into foliage. So that's what I'm doing, so fingers crossed. But meanwhile, look at that. Lunch right there. So what a treat this has been. I mean, here we are. I mean, I'm surrounded by the scent of the azaleas, which are just so glorious at this time of year. I'm so delighted that I've been able to share the garden with you when it's all looking so beautiful and on such a fabulous day as well. And now I'm just hoping that I get to enjoy the sights and the sounds and the smells and the touches of this garden over the next few months, and maybe sometimes sit quietly and have a glass of wine as well.